Remember when the Titans fired Brian Callahan? I did. It was the saddest moment of my life. This man right here was an absolute gold mine for content. I could count on him for at least one dumb decision a week. I don't say this lightly. Callahan might legitimately be one of the worst coaches in NFL history. And if you want to put him bottom 10 all time, I wouldn't blame you or argue with you one bit. The man went 4-19 in his 2 seasons at charge, and was so bad that by the end of it, he wasn't even making decisions, as he was basically delegating everything to everyone else because he was that indecisive and that unqualified. However, there is a saving grace in all of this. There is a silver lining. Because as it turns out, the man who replaced him, this man right here, Mike McCoy, somehow, I kid you not, he might be just as bad, if not worse. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Because during week 8, when the Titans play the Colts, you're never going to believe what McCoy decided to do.
Fans are saying 1-6, let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. We're punting the football. We're punting away the freaking football on 4th and short and plus territory, down by 10 points in the second half. You could go for it like any sane coach would do in this spot, especially when you're 1-6. You could try the field goal, seeing as Joey Sly has the leg for it, even if he might not be the most accurate kicker out there. But nope, we're going to take the one option that doesn't get points, all to get a marginal difference in field position that will likely be negated quickly after because the Colts offense is good and the Titans defense is not. We're going to try and pin them deep. And sure enough,
Hecker punting to Gould, who watches it bounce into the end zone.
2 seconds later.
Down the sideline, staying in bounds, still going, Taylor! The distance!
welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before we break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Tennessee Titans head coach, Mike McCoy. There are some interim coaches that do a good job with the opportunity that they've been given, like Bruce Coslin with the Bengals and Jason Garrett with the Cowboys, and are able to work it into a head coaching opportunity with the interim tag removed. And then there's some that falter at every step of the way, look completely in over their heads, and have no business being on the sidelines in any capacity. That's Mike McCoy, which is odd because he was a head coach before and even guided the San Diego Chargers to the playoffs over a decade ago. So in theory, he should know what it takes to be a head coach and know the responsibilities that this position entails. But clearly, he's forgotten. Not that he was ever good, but clearly, he's forgotten any sort of rational thinking or logic or anything ever since assuming his role with the Titans. Because he's just as bad as Brian Callahan was, which is impressive because, as you may recall, Brian Callahan was really freaking bad. And for as bad as Callahan was, I'm not even sure he'd do something this stupid. I wouldn't put it past him, but he might not do something like this. So with that being said, let's take a look at why punting the ball on 4th and 3 in field goal range down by 2 scores is a really bad idea. And before we even go any further, I'm going to start backwards and show the post-game press conference and show you what Mike McCoy himself had to say about the decision to punt the ball, just so we can get every single excuse out of the way and attack everything at once. Because trust me, there's a lot to dissect here. Take a listen to McCoy's explanation.
Hindsight, you look back to the guy, the last thing I thought they were going to do would have the big touchdown run after that. So yeah, God, you look back to God, I should have gone for that. But, initially when I said to punt it, you pin them deep, and the defense, I've done a nice job through the second quarter, and you pin them deep, get the ball back. But looking back, that's when you wish you said, God, just went for it.
So the reason that McCoy did this was because he trusted his defense to get a stop? In what universe am I trusting my defense here? You're going up against the literal number one offense in football. I cannot believe I'm actually saying that near the halfway point of the season, that the Daniel Jones-led Indianapolis Colts are the number one offense in football. As a Jaguars fan, that's my worst nightmare. But they are the number one offense, and quite comfortably, I might add. The Colts had 5 drives in the first half. I'm not counting their final drive when they had just 1 second left on the clock, and Daniel Jones threw it into the dirt. They've had 5 legitimate drives thus far, and they've scored on 3 of them. They've scored a touchdown on 2 of their last 4 drives. 5 drives into the game, and they had 205 yards of offense, which comes out to 41 yards a drive, which is well above the league-wide average. Where was the evidence here that you were going to stop them? Is this evidence in the room with us right now? It'd be one thing if you had only allowed 3 points and were forcing a ton of 3 and outs, but you weren't. You weren't even close to having that happen. The evidence showed that you were likely not going to be able to get a stop if you punted the ball back. The evidence also showed that the last time you tried punting the ball in plus territory, which happened in the first half faced with 4th and 4, that you couldn't even get it inside the Colts' 15-yard line. So the odds that you'd even flip the field in the first place for a considerable amount were pretty slim. This decision was made by a guy with no feel for the game who hadn't watched anything that transpired. But more importantly about this decision, it was a 2-score game. You had 4th and very manageable at the 42-yard line. We know that your kicker, Joey Sly, can hit a field goal from that far out. At the very least, he's got the leg for it. He's not missing it short. If you don't trust your offense to get a first down, you can at least try the field goal and make it a 1-score game. But 3 yards at the 42-yard line? Just about every coach in the world, not named Mike Tomlin, is going for it there down by 10. If you get the first, you're in field goal range and can make it a 1-score game and keep the drive alive. If you don't get the first, the Colts are still starting in their own territory and need to get multiple first downs to be able to realistically try a field goal. And I'm not saying teams should always go for a 4th and 3 at the 42. This is obviously a case-by-case basis. If you're up by 2 points and there's 15 seconds left in the game, you'd have to be crazy to go for it here. But in this spot down by 10, on a drive where more than half of your plays thus far had gotten 3 or more yards, as in the requisite yardage needed for the first down, what do you have to lose here? Seriously, what do you have to lose? You're down by 2 scores and you're 1-6. If there's ever a time to go for it, it's right here, right now. If you're looking at this from a best case scenario and a worst case scenario perspective, here's how it goes. And when looking at these scenarios, I wouldn't be doing this if it was unrealistic. If this was 4th and 10, this is an entirely different discussion. But on 4th and 3, where just about everyone goes for it in that spot, different story. The best case scenario if you go for it is that you get it, and now you're in field goal range and have a chance to make it a 1-score game. The worst case scenario is that you don't get it, and now the Colts start on their own side of the field. The best case scenario if you punt the ball is that it's still a 2-score game with the Colts getting an extra possession, who again have the number 1 offense in football, and with the Colts having slightly worse field position than before in the grand scheme of things. Since again, we're talking a minimal yardage of field flipping here, considering where you currently are. The worst case scenario if you punt the ball is that it's still a 2-score game, with the Colts basically having no worse field position than what they would have gotten otherwise. Is bypassing the opportunity to get a first down and make it a 1-score game worth, give or take, 30 yards of field position when that field position isn't in scoring position for the Colts either way? I don't know how in today's NFL, with the number 1 offense in football on the other side of the field, how you can say it is. I just don't. I don't see a universe where the net yardage difference from punting is worth it. Get 3 yards, and your odds of making it a 1-score game skyrocket. Don't get 3 yards, and the Colts get it back with some work to do to increase their lead. Even in the best case scenario that you could have hoped for there, which again, I don't think was happening, because Johnny Hecker couldn't even get it inside the 15-yard line, the last time you punted in plus territory, but still, even in the best case scenario, where you get them at the 5 and then force a 3 and out, when you start your next drive, you're likely going to be starting it inside your own territory with the way Rigoberto Sanchez has been punting it thus far for the Colts. Meaning that you need to get multiple first downs with a struggling offense to get right back where you were. Only this time, you'd have less time on the clock to work with the clock being your enemy to some extent when down by 2 scores, needing to get possession somehow. So nothing about the logic here made any sense, and it showed not just a complete lack of awareness for the flow of the game, but a complete lack of trust for your quarterback and first overall pick in Cam Ward. I think the Titans need to fire McCoy. Genuinely. I think they need to fire the interim coach. I know he's only been the interim for 2 games, but the Titans need an interim to the interim. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're losing or not getting better. Trust me, when you fire a head coach, you're already throwing in the towel on the season. And only one time has a team in the Super Bowl era ever fired a coach and made it to the playoffs. And that was the Las Vegas Raiders in 2021, which was under a very unique set of circumstances. So this is not an overreaction to 2 losses against opponents that might be 2 of the best teams in football. Everyone thought the Titans would be 0-2 after the Patriots and Colts game. That is not the issue. This is about one thing and one thing only. Cam Ward. You spent the first pick in the draft on your franchise quarterback. You spent the first pick in the draft on the guy that you believe can lead you at the most important position in all of sports for the next decade, and invested in him to the point where you unretire the number of a Hall of Fame player for him. And yet, Mike McCoy despises the man. McCoy absolutely hates his guts. You've got a head coach who does not have any faith or any trust in his rookie quarterback and is setting him up to fail. Don't believe me? Listen to what Ward had to say about the decision to punt the ball there instead of going for it or trying the field goal.
I think I'm a competitor. Our whole offense is like that. Our whole defense is like that, from O-line to D-line. Those guys, they compete every day in practice. So I just think the biggest thing that we want to be an aggressive team, especially with the record we have right now. We have to be an aggressive team at the end of the season to get to where we want to be. So we just got to keep on going one day at a time, and, we got to try to win a game next week.
I know this much. Mike McCoy has coached 2 games as the interim in Tennessee. Last week against the New England Patriots, the Titans had the ball at their own 35-yard line with 49 seconds left and all of their timeouts, with the Patriots getting the ball to start the second half. And what did the Titans do? They ran out the clock. They didn't even try to run a 2-minute drill. They didn't even try to get into field goal range. Mike McCoy had so little trust in his rookie quarterback that he had his team run out the clock on their own 35-yard line with all of their timeouts on 1st and 10, down by 4. And now, this week, you have this catastrophe where you're down by 2 scores, you're facing 4th and 3, near the 40-yard line of the opponent, and you punt the ball away. How is Cam Ward ever going to get better? Seriously, how is Ward ever going to get better under this coaching staff? I've seen parents put more faith in their 4-year-old child to not get lost in a corn maze by themselves than I've seen the Titans coaching staff put faith in Ward. The Titans need a new interim head coach. They need someone that actually will give Cam Ward a chance and doesn't actively coach against his own quarterback. Why McCoy was even on the staff to begin with, if this is how he felt about his quarterback, I don't know. But Mike McCoy just sucks. And there's a reason why the Titans, even with a new coach, are the worst team in football to watch week in and week out. So what did we learn from all of this? If you have 4th and 3 in opposing territory and you're down by 10 points and you're 1-6, just go for it. What do you have to lose? You're 1-6 for crying out loud. Just go for it. And if the number 1 offense in football is on the other side of the field, that's even more reason to go for it. If your defense has not gotten stops all day, then maybe giving the other team an extra possession when you have a chance to make it a 1-score game yourself and a realistic chance of that, I might add, isn't the smartest idea. And if you're the head coach of a football team and you draft a quarterback first overall and you don't trust that quarterback, especially in spots where every other coach is trusting their quarterback, then maybe it's time to reevaluate things. And let's just say you're not doing a great job getting the interim tag removed off you anytime soon. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Check out our live streaming schedule for the next few days. We're live every single day on this channel, whether we're covering a sporting event or playing GeoGuessr or just taking your requests. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single time that we go live and so that you can join this community. Also, thanks to all our members and our Patreon supporters who get exclusive perks like their name at the end of each video, members-only Q&A streams, and cool emojis to use on videos and during streams. See how you can join this community and become a member or a Patreon member by clicking the link in the description below.